Welcome to Worthwhile Watches. I'm Rob. Recently, I did a review of this Oris Big Crown Pointer Date 38mm green dial Cervo Volante model. You can check it out here or click the link in the description if you haven't seen it. I gave the Oris a good review with the main drawback being the price. But today we're going to look at an alternative that can be found on AliExpress for around $160. So, how does this Octopus Kraken pilot watch compare to the Oris Big Crown Pointer Date? Let's find out. Looking at these two side by side, the Octopus Kraken is noticeably bigger. It has a 40mm case, where this Oris is a 38mm. Another obvious difference is the Octopus doesn't have the number track going along the outside edge. The Octopus is a no-date 3-hand watch, where the Oris has 4 hands, one of which is a pointer date. Apart from those major differences, they are both green dial automatic stainless steel watches that came on leather straps. So let's compare what they do have in common, starting with the dial. The Octopus dial is a brighter shade of green and has a definite gradient effect, becoming darker at the railroad track chapter ring. The Oris is a darker, more subtle shade of green that comes across as more sophisticated in my opinion. Due to the larger dial size and lack of numbers along the outer edge, the numerals are quite a bit bigger on the Octopus. Both have hands that are well proportioned to the dial. Both minute hands reach all the way out to the minute track. Both dials have 3 lines of text and are well balanced with good proportions. Both dials feature high quality, precise printing and good quality hands. Without magnification, I don't see any obvious flaws or dust on either. But I do find the word octopus to be a bit silly on this watch. I can look past it on a dive watch, but on this vintage style pilot watch, the words Octopus Kraken are a little hard to take seriously. I would have preferred just the logo under the 12 and maybe the word Kraken very small underneath, or maybe a more fitting word like pilot. Overall, these are both nice looking dials, but I have to give the win to the Oris for the more refined and sophisticated dial. The cases are both 316L stainless steel and feature a very similar overall shape, though the smaller Oris case has a 19mm lug width and the Octopus is 20mm. The Oris is brushed on top and polished everywhere else, while the Octopus case is all brushed except for tiny polished cuts on both sides where the case meets the coin edge bezel. As expected, the finishing on the Octopus is not as crisp and even as the Oris. The Octopus case surface seems a bit wobbly in places. They both have signed, polished crowns that are similarly proportioned and nicely machined, and they both have well-executed coin edge bezels. The screw-down caseback on the Octopus is a simple brushed stainless steel with some basic watch information, while the Oris features a display caseback with a nicely polished perimeter and a quite attractive Solita movement underneath. Overall, both cases look pretty good, but I can easily give the win to the Oris for case finishing. Both of these watches came with a leather strap. The Oris was supplied with a 19mm strap made from sustainably sourced Swiss deer leather by a company called Cervo Volante. The Oris also came with a nice Cervo Volante travel pouch and a small wallet. The Octopus came with a leather strap that they describe as Italian leather. I can't really confirm what type of leather it is because there are no markings at all on this strap, aside from the Octopus Kraken logo on the buckle, which is pretty nice. I can say the leather is thicker and seems to be of higher quality than a lot of the awful genuine leather marked straps that come on many inexpensive watches. This strap does appear pretty decent. It's not as soft and pliable as the Oris strap, of course, and is still maybe a little plasticky, but it's quite comfortable and a step up from a lot of the leather straps in its price range. Although the Oris strap does appear to be high quality and well made, I don't use it because I prefer the look of a darker leather strap with this green dial. I can say the same thing for the Octopus. I'm not really fond of the strap color, so I also wear it on a similar dark brown strap. I got both of these straps on Amazon, by the way. I'll leave a link in the description if you're interested in checking them out. As far as the straps are concerned, Oris definitely wins. Moving on to the crystals. Both watches have very similar sapphire crystals, but the Oris has a more pronounced curvature with a bit more distortion. Both claim to have anti-reflective coating, but the Oris seems to have a bit more clarity, allowing the dial details to really pop underneath, showing off a precision that the Octopus just doesn't quite match. I have to give the Oris crystal the win. Wearability is a subjective topic, but I find both wear pretty well. The cases are similarly shaped and are both the same height. I have to give Octopus credit for keeping this watch slim even though it's using the NH35 movement, which isn't a particularly thin movement. The main difference here is the lug-to-lug. The Oris has a compact lug-to-lug measurement of about 45.3 millimeters. The larger Octopus has a lug-to-lug of 47.8 millimeters. So this 38mm Oris will fit smaller wrists better, while those with larger wrists will likely prefer the fit of the Octopus. By the way, Oris also offers 40mm and 36mm big crown pointer dates too, so they have just about every size preference covered. With my wrist being a bit over 6 3/4 inches, I can get by wearing either one of these just fine, but I do prefer the slightly smaller 38mm Oris case. Of course, if comparing the 40mm Oris, the comparison would be much closer. Size is a matter of personal preference, but the Oris has a higher quality, softer leather strap that also gives it a bit of an edge in wearability. So I have to give the Oris the win here. As far as the movements, the Oris uses what they call the Caliber 754, which is a modified Swiss Sellita SW200 with a custom rotor and a pointer date function. The Octopus uses a Japanese Seiko NH35, which also has a date function, but the Octopus has no date feature. So unfortunately, the Octopus does have a ghost date. When you pull the crown out one click and turn the crown, the date mechanics still click away underneath. It would have been nice if they'd used a Seiko NH38 no-date movement. The Sellita movement used in the Oris has a 28,800 vibration per hour beat rate and a 38-hour power reserve. The Seiko NH35 features a slower 21,600 vibration per hour beat rate, but has a slightly higher power reserve of 41 hours. Both are solid movements, but the Oris wins on this one with its pointer date function, higher beat rate, and not to mention that it looks very nice too. One area that the Octopus is a clear winner is in water resistance. The Octopus claims 100 meters of water resistance, while the Oris is rated for only 50 meters. Both are probably adequate for this style of watch, since most people don't go swimming wearing dressy pilot watches on leather straps. But the Octopus is the winner in water resistance. Another area where the Octopus pulls ahead of the Oris is loom. You can see in this 20-minute side-by-side test, the numerals and indices of the Octopus hang on longer than the Oris. By the end of the test, the hands of both watches are still similarly visible, but the Octopus dial is clearly brighter overall. Loom goes to the Octopus. When it comes to history and heritage, Oris was founded in Switzerland in 1904 and has decades of experience building precise and innovative watches. Octopus Kraken, on the other hand, is a recent Chinese watch brand. I can't find much information about this company's history, and their website just makes things more confusing. This is just a small portion taken directly from the About Us section of the Octopus Kraken website. With the love of wrist art, with the wrist watchmaker's persistence, in the time of history and future, in the space of dream and reality, we think carefully in the small cuffs between the wrists show, and invite you to taste. Just under that, in a section titled Origin, it says this: Octopus Kraken, with the love of wrist art, with the wristwatch maker's dedication, Octopussy's founder decided that between the tiny cuffs, the tiny wrists, high-end watch customization processing started, and then registered the brand. began to produce high-quality retro diving watches. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and call Oris as the clear winner in history and heritage. In all seriousness, I have to say I am quite impressed with the Octopus. They managed to pull off a decent homage to this classic Oris Big Crown design. They kept the case slim, used quality components, and delivered pretty impressive build quality and finishing for the price. Overall, the Oris is much more refined, with better finishing and functionality, but the Octopus holds its own quite well. For $160, you're getting a solid bargain with the Octopus. I can't really say the same for this Oris at its retail price of $2,500. But if you can find this Cervo Volante model for around 40% off, I think it's a more fair price. So overall, the Oris is the winner in terms of heritage, build quality, finishing, refinement, functionality, and originality. The Octopus Kraken is an impressive watch, but it doesn't replace the Oris, which has a refined quality about it that comes with building quality watches for over a century. It's clear that more attention to detail has gone into the Oris, not to mention originality in its design. I never expected the Octopus to match the Oris in finish quality and refinement, but at its price, it's a solid watch, and even beat the Oris in water resistance and lume performance. I actually liked the Octopus more than I expected to out of the box, and in wearing it for this comparison review, I've come to like it even more. It looks nice, keeps good time, and was a bargain. Sure, the Oris is the nicer watch, but 15 times nicer? Let me know what you think in the comments. Is the Oris overpriced? Is the Octopus just a blatant copy? I find these comparisons interesting and a lot of fun to produce. If you're enjoying them too, please consider liking and subscribing if you haven't already. It really helps the channel and helps me continue to improve the quality of my videos. Thank you as always for watching, and whatever you have on your wrist, no matter the price, make your day worthwhile.